Helen Louise Taft was born in Cincinnati, Ohio on June 2, 1861. Helen was the fourth of 11 children of Judge John Williamson Taft, a college classmate of future U.S. President Benjamin Harrison, and a law partner of another future president, Rutherford B. Hayes. Helen Taft was enrolled in private Miss Norris School, known in Cincinnati as the Nursery, in 1866 to 1879, and took classes from the University of Cincinnati. In 1879, she met William Howard Taft at a bobsledding party in Cincinnati. He asked her out for the first time in February of 1880, but they did not go out regularly until 1882, and in 1885, after an initial rejection, she agreed to marry him. The wedding took place at the Huron home on June 19, 1886. The couple honeymooned one day in New York City and 4 days at Seabright, New Jersey, before setting off on a 3-month tour of Europe. On their return, they settled in Cincinnati, Ohio. Helen Taft encouraged her husband's political career despite his often stated preference for the judiciary. However, she welcomed each step in his judicial career. In 1900, William agreed to take charge of American civil government in the Philippine Islands as Governor General until 1903. Helen moved with their children to the Philippines capital, Manila, where she tried to reconcile with the local population by showing respect to the culture of the Philippines, by learning the language, wearing native Filipino clothing, and inviting local Filipinos to social events. In late 1902, William had heard from U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt that a seat on the Supreme Court would soon fall vacant, and Roosevelt desired that Taft fill it. Although this was Taft's professional goal, he refused as he felt his work as Governor General was not yet done. The following year, Roosevelt asked Taft to become Secretary of War. After consulting with his family, Taft agreed and sailed to the United States on December 1903. William Taft resigned as Secretary of War on June 30, 1908, to devote himself full-time to the presidential nomination campaign. In the end, Taft won by a comfortable margin. In regards to her husband's campaign, Helen Taft said, "There was nothing to criticize except his not knowing or caring about the way the game of politics is played." Due to a blizzard that covered Washington, D.C. with 10 inches of snow the night before, the inauguration was moved into the Senate chamber. For the first time in inaugurational history, the incoming First Lady joined her husband in leading the parade from Capitol Building to Executive Mansion. An inaugural ball that evening was held at the Pension Building. First Lady Helen Taft started to receive guests 3 afternoons a week in the Red Room. At times she attended the cabinet meetings with the president without speaking on the issues. She introduced musical entertainment after state dinners, which became a White House tradition. She started another summer tradition at West Potomac Park with the United States Marine Band playing for the public. In May 1909, Helen suffered a stroke, impairing her speech, right arm, and leg. Assisted by her 4 sisters, she continued her functions as Executive Mansion host until she recovered with the help of her husband. In her most lasting contribution as First Lady, Helen Taft arranged the planting of 3,020 Japanese cherry trees around the tidal basin and on Capitol grounds, with the wife of Japanese Ambassador Viscountess Iwashinda. She personally planted the first 2 saplings in ceremonies on March 27, 1912. Also in 1912, she donated her inaugurational gown to the National Museum of American History to begin the First Lady's gown display, which is on display at the Smithsonian Museum. Prohibition was a major political debate at the time. Helen was an opponent of the Prohibition movement, so Executive Mansion guests were entertained with alcohol during her time as First Lady. As First Lady, Helen Taft was the first First Lady to own and drive a car, to support women's suffrage, to smoke cigarettes, and to successfully lobby for safety standards in federal workplaces. After losing the election, the Tafts returned to Cincinnati, Ohio, where William began teaching law. Helen wrote her memoir, Recollections of Full Years, which was published in 1914. This makes her the first First Lady to publish her memoirs. Helen Taft was widowed on March 8, 1930. She continued to be socially involved, serving as an honorary vice president of the Colonial Dames of America and the Girl Scouts of the USA. She died in Washington, D.C. on May 22, 1943, and was buried next to her husband at Arlington National Cemetery.